Horseferry Road, named so for a reason, as are pretty much all these roads, I think. Yes, that is a black cab. As we come back in. Where are we? Okay, Horseferry Road. Over there, top there, that's the way to Victoria Street, St James Park, that type of thing. And Strutton Grounds up there as well, if you're so inclined. This video is about food, actually, and Lisa and I have more so Lisa than I. You know, we're reasonably aware of food, all sorts of price levels, I suppose, I guess. And Strutton Ground is great for what it offers, as is Tatchborough Market as well, if you're inclined for that sort of takeaway food. There's that one level, if you sort of one end, if you're into the 3 stars or £70 for an afternoon tea and all of that. Okay, that exists as well. But down at t'other side of things, okay, you've got your McDonald's and all that, and if you want to get a hamburger for £1.49, you can do so. But this video is more about the places at the cheaper end where you can actually sit down and have something. I'm gonna walk back here because you see there's a lot of black cabbies around here, a lot of them over there.
That's the only car parked right now.
And now why is that? Because they're not here like for clients, that sort of thing. We're not outside some hotel or some restaurant or whatever, right? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. We are outside a restaurant, but it's a restaurant a lot of cabbies go to. The Astral. Okay, and that's Mornsell Street here. So Victoria Street's just up there. So we're not too far from Buckingham Palace and Westminster Abbey and Big Ben. That's just over there a bit. The river's just down there. So you know we're still in central London, and so yeah, someone like the Astral is what do we have there? We had, Lisa and I a couple of weeks ago. We had a big meal. It was steak. Well, what was it? Steak and all sorts of stuff, right? Burger.
I think a sausage. And
yeah,
chips.
And it was on a big plate. And anyway, it was
enough for 2 of us.
Yeah, and that was a tenner or something.
And
oh yeah, and then I ordered apple crumble and custard. And when it came, I actually thought, and it was only one of us that wanted that, right? But when it came, it was like really big, and I thought that they had actually, you know, given one for me and one for Lisa. It was in like a big soup bowl, but no, it was just for one, and there was a whole bunch of custard as well. And you know, I like that kind of stuff, and it was like £3, what, £3 and 10 pence. And that's the sort of thing that you can find in places like this. It's not difficult to find food. I mean, even a meal for like £6. I mean, it kind of depends. A lot of cabbies go to this one because there's a lot of takeaway options, and there is at the back of it there's a sit-down place if you prefer that.
Lots of takeaway options and good prices.
And this one is open later on Sundays because there's another one we're going to go down to that has different hours. So that is something to consider, the actual hours as well. But yes, if you're in them, and the thing about it is that it's good nosh. I mean, it's not okay. You can pay a £5 for summer, and you know it's kind of crap. Sorry, that's a swear word. But this isn't. Okay, you probably wouldn't want to eat this every day, you know, because it may not, you know, do your stomach any good, you know, unless you're working on a building site or something like that. But and you can just tell from the number of black cabs here that this is a popular place if you're in the kind of mood for that. If you like nosh, you know, that no messing about, no frills, just food. Chips weren't bad there. When I say chips, I don't mean those scrawny French fries that so many of you seem to. Oh my God! I mean, what an insult. But no, proper chips. Place down here also has chips, and if anything is better. Okay, it's only 100 yards, so don't worry. Place down here closes at 2:30 during the week. Again, you've got to check these hours out if you're going to come to any of these type places. Place down here I think isn't open on Sundays. Oh, I just want to show the, and anyway, so you've got to check out the opening hours. There's not so many black cabbies out this one, and maybe because they don't do they don't have the same sort of takeaway choices as the Astral does. This one up here, it's more for sitting down. I mean, there is takeaway, but generally speaking, it's more for sit down. This one here, as it was where Elton John met Bernie Taupin, and this was in another film, wasn't it? What was the other film? Not the Elton John one.
Layer cake.
What?
Layer cake.
Layer cake.
Sorry.
Layered cake.
Layer cake. Layer
Okay.
cake.
Okay. So this one was in that film, and this means that if you come by here, say between 12 and 1, or it can normally the queue comes outside, and that's probably because there's a few visitors to this country that have seen this mentioned in films and feel they got to go there. But having said that, I mean that's enough normally to put people off. Having said that, I mean Lisa and I have just eaten there. I ate there one day last week. I mean I had liver, bacon, chips and peas. Again, proper chips. None of this squirrely nonsense. And that was £5.80. Then I had bread and butter pudding. Well, I would have had custard. That would have been £3, but they ran out of custard, so they gave me ice cream for free. But I preferred the custard, but they didn't have any. That was £3. But they don't do apple pies or rhubarb pies and all that. It was like just bread and butter pudding. Whereas the other place up there, Astral, did have apple crumble. But maybe that's just a thing every now and then. Anyway, this one.
Pride and Rocket Man. It's been featured in the BBC series
What's
Judge John Deed.
This place.
Yeah. Rescue Me and London Spy.
Okay, Regency Cafe on Regency Street. Say that Astral is just like 100 yards down there, right? And I tell you, the woman in here, right? What happens, right? You go in, you order, you pay, you sit down, and then what she does, she's got this really deep voice, and she'll go, eggs, bacon, tomatoes, fried bread, and you got to like listen out for but she's got this voice that it's
boisterous, like resounding.
Resounding, sounds like a bloke at first, and then you just got to wait for her to sort of call out or resound out whatever it is you ordered, and then you got and get it.
You can see into someone's flat upstairs.
Oh right. But anyway, so again, this is going to be the same sort of price point as Astral. And if you're in, I swear, I mean, okay, there's no great, it's not like, fine dining and all that kind of stuff. But if you're in the mood for that, like no mince, no frills, no nonsense food, and you're in this part of London, and as I say, Westminster Abbey, Big Ben are just over there, quarter of a mile, something like that. Buckingham Palace is over there, quarter of a mile, something like that. I mean, it's not far. I mean, to drive from this point now, to drive to Victoria Street, I mean, assuming everything with, normal, 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. I mean, this is kind of close to where a lot of people are going to be anyway. St. James's Park is just going to be maybe 3/4 of a mile up there. It's not far away. It really, really isn't. Stratton Ground is just over there. Westminster Cathedral is just over there, I don't know, not even 1/4 of a mile. But yet, most visitors don't come here. I mean, it's kind of a shame, really. Oh God, anything else?
Art Deco architecture. That's what they say. This is like the Art Deco period. There's a lot of art actually of the Regency Cafe inside, and if you look online, it's really funny that a lot of people who come to London for the first time, or they may know the Regency, but not a lot of people know about the Astral.
Okay, thank you. All right, time to go.
Cheers.
Bye. Yeah, I'm gonna make a video of a full English breakfast. Full English breakfast is gonna be different. I mean, some of them are gonna have mushrooms, some of them not. Some of them are gonna have hash browns, but that's kind of recent, like the last decade type thing, I suppose. But yeah, and some of them are gonna have tomatoes, so there's gonna be some slight differences. We ask for brown toast. A lot of time you automatically get white toast. And even brown toast is not the greatest bread, is it? And sometimes you get a bigger mug of coffee or tea. I got tea, Lisa's got coffee. And of course, they're all going to be different prices. This particular one is, I think, £6.80. I mean, we could have spent £5.80 and say not had the beans, for example. I mean, there's going to be slight differences, right? Anyway, and we're at the Astral Cafe right now, which is Pimlico, Victoria area, very close to the House of Parliament, Westminster Abbey, that type of thing. It's called the Astral, ASTR. And it's only 100 yards from the Regency, we've already spoken about the Regency. So this is physically, this building itself is physically smaller, so it's a little bit more cramped. It doesn't have so many tables as the Regency, but you can see more taxi cabs here because there's parking outside for them, whereas there isn't at the Regency. And for the most part, the service is quicker here. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the food is better here, but the service tends to be a little quicker. So nothing's perfect, is it?
Hi subscribers! So Peter and I were looking at flats and Peter surprised us, well me, with a lovely lunch. There he is, the man! Here we have scampi and chips along with honey's liver, bacon, peas and chips. Tea, water, and here's the Regency Cafe. This was in Layer Cake and also in Rocket Man. Hi!
So here's the Astral from the outside. And you can see from the address there, Regency Place SW1. Now just over there, Westminster Abbey, Big Ben, all of that. So just over there, I don't know, 10-minute walk, something like that. That way, Buckingham Palace, maybe a 25-minute walk, something like that. This just up there's Victoria Street, and Victoria Station is just over there. So this is, kind of central, ish. I mean, I think the absolute centre is, Trafalgar Square, but, the plaque on the ground by the statue of King Charles I. But anyway, this is SW1, same as the Queen, same as Boris Johnson, Downing Street, all of that. Anyway, and here's the Astral, and you can see there's a lot of cabs out here. And there's also a loo. If you ever need a loo, it's one of these open ones. Not open that if you're walking past you can see men, because it's for blokes, doing their thing. There's a little bit of discretion in there, but that's free as well. So that's over there. Is that my phone? Somebody else's phone. This is my phone. Who's phoning me? Oh, it's okay. Anyway. Right, so from the cabbie's point of view, the parking's easier here. And the Astral, it's not so big inside, it's a little bit more cramped, but the service tends to be quicker than the Regency, which is just down there that we'll get into. So that's why you're going to see a lot more cabbies outside the Astral. It's not necessarily a reflection that maybe the Astral's better. I mean, there's some things different. I think apple pie and custard might be better value, stuff like that. But generally speaking, the Regency, Astral, they're all same kind of thing. But the Astral is smaller inside, it's a bit more cramped, but the service is going to be quicker. And that's probably why a lot of the cabbies go there. Here's another. Oh, this is a paying loo. That loo over there is a free one. This is one of these paying ones, a little different. Anyway, so you see a lot of cabbies here. So that's the Astral. I don't think it's open on Sunday. The little place next door to it, which is part of the Astral, is. And see, just down there is straight ahead is Vincent Square, where Lascoffier is, and Vauxhall Bridge Road, the BP station, and the river's kind of straight ahead, I don't know, a quarter of a mile, something like that. So location way, hello, this is going on Pornhub. Oh dear, someone's gonna whack me one day. But anyway, let me cross over quickly. So the Astral and the Regency, they're only like 100 yards apart. A lot more people are familiar with the Regency because it's featured in some films. Rocket Man, Elton John. This is where Elton John met, what's his name, Reg Dwight? No, not Reg Dwight. Who was that Elton John songwriter? Bernie Taupin, right? That's where Elton John met Bernie Taupin, and it was featured in The Rocket Man. What other films has this one been featured in? My Wikipedia woman.
I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Tip of your tongue? I'm not familiar with that film. Anyway, so that's the Regency. Starts with the B, but anyway, now the Regency's a bit more space inside, and an hour and a half from now, there's going to be a bit of the queues. I mean, you can see the queue inside. Like if you join that queue now, you've probably got about 10 minutes before you get to the front of it. But if you're coming around at lunchtime, the queue's going to be outside, which if you're a cabbie, you know, that's not good, right? So that's, if I was a cabbie, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be going to the Astral. One thing about the Astral, it's a little bigger inside, not quite so cramped. Like when you join the queue, the menus are up on the left-hand side in there. So you actually have time to look at the menu. And then by the time you get up to order, you kind of know what you want. Whereas in the Astral, that's not the case. You walk, if you're not doing the takeaway, you walk in, you get a table, hopefully, and then you look at the menu and figure it out that way. Which at the end of the day is not, the worst thing in the world, is it? So with the Astral, yeah, you join the queue, and then you can't see it, I don't think, from here, but they got the boards up there with all the what's available and the prices. And so you were saying something about the Regency, about the...
This is Regency architecture.
Oh, architecture. Oh, okay. All right, so if you're into that sort of thing.
This is like pretty iconic for the art. I mean, all around, but I think that's one of the reasons why it's called Regency Cafe, besides the street name.
Right.
I think, but I'm not so sure exactly
but
what.
When you're saying something about something inside it, that the ordering or something? Not. I don't mean the lady with the booming voice, but no, I don't. Wasn't there something else? No.
When you order, I mean, you queue up to order,
right?
You can't save a table, but I do kind of feel
you can't save a table.
It kind of feels like, I guess, a bit more. Well, it's touristy for a reason. It does have this kind of like. But there's something about the vibe in there that's different from Astral, because Astral feels like, a realistic working man's place, whereas this kind of feels a little bit frozen in time with everything, and then it feels more British in some way. And
the reason there's more tourists here is because of the films, right? Because this isn't the location, even though it's really close to Westminster Abbey, the House of Parliament, and all that. It's far enough as that, like, it'd be unlikely that you'd be walking here anyway if you were going to say. You could hear the woman. It'd be unlikely you would come in here anyway if you were going to places like the Houses of Parliament or whatever, right? It's not quite like, the river's down there. In theory, I suppose, if you got lost, you could, come across this place. But I think this is, so for some people, this would be a destination, wouldn't it? They'd have heard about it from TripAdvisor or something else, right?
Yeah, it's on quite a few food lists when you look at the British full breakfast.
So maybe that's why a lot of those people would come here, whereas the Astral isn't on so many of those type places.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if you could hear the lady booming out the... Lisa got in trouble once here. When you order, you pay at the same time. And then when your food's ready, this lady who's there most of the time, it's got this really booming voice. I don't know if you've heard it in the last few minutes. And she'll say, ham, egg and chips. And then hopefully you're paying attention and you hear that. And you stand up and then you go and grab it, right? Unfortunately.
It doesn't take any dilly-dally.
Do you want to recount what happened?
Well, one day I really wanted fish and chips. And I saw on the menu they had haddock and chips. So that's what I asked for. I asked for haddock and chips. So we're waiting. We sat down. And she had screamed ham, egg, and chips. And I didn't get up because that's not what I ordered. She kept shouting. What did she say, honey? She said something like, "Hello, ladies," because it was with Charity.
Right. So the lady, the booming lady, had misheard Lisa's order, There she goes again. Anyway, so yeah, so if you ever hear of the booming lady, this is where she is, and yeah, just make sure you're paying attention, else you'll get like a bit of a telling off, right?
Yeah, you will.
Anyway, so yeah, so between the Regency and the Astral, there's some slight differences. Even with the food, the menu's going to be more or less the same type of thing, right? You know, there's going to be a few little differences here and there. You know, if you've only got time for one, I don't know, it's difficult to say which one, isn't it, really?
If you're coming from the States and you want the touristy experience, it's this one. But
Okay.
if you want like a every person, like realistic London experience where the cabbies go, it's Astral.
Right, but don't forget the cabbies go there
Because it's easier.
because it's easier for them,
That's what I'm
right? With the
saying.
parking, not because of the food per se, right?
No, but this one gives you like that full tourist experience, but you have to have time for it.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
think if you're making a trip out of it, like you
go to this one.
Yeah,
Go to this one. Anyway, one thing as well. I'm not sure if check the hours in any of these places if they're open on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, this
And
closes early, so
and I think this one closes at something like 2:30, isn't it, during the week?
you have to come early.
And
Let's go for the hours.
okay, see, yeah, and that's another issue actually. If it's late at night or if it's late afternoon or something, I think yeah. See, this closes at 2:30, and on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 12, closed Sundays. So yeah, that is. I'm not sure about the
For the whole Jubilee.
You're close for the whole Jubilee. Wow. How about that? How about that? Yeah, it's Wednesday today, Jubilee. Well, the 4 days starts tomorrow. So yeah, so the Astral, check the hours as well on that one as well. I'm not sure offhand.
The chips here seem like thicker, real chips.
That's true, actually. That's a good point.
These
Yeah,
chips.
chips. If you're into chips, yeah, the Regency is going to be better than the Astral. The Astral, they're more like French fries, actually. Yeah, that is a really good point. Well
Chips
done.
here are very
Yeah,
good.
so yeah, if that's important to you, okay, Regency. Okay, onwards.